I think it will really wake some students up to the fact that it does happen on campus.
Gonzaga is trying to get to the bottom of a hate incident directed towards black students, why the FBI is now involved, plus how it's crossed international borders.
We're tracking our next big weather system set to hit the area this Friday. Mountain snow is assured, but how much snow could be falling in the Spokane area? I'll be going over those forecast details.
I think it's just absolutely horrendous. It's like naming a street after Hitler.
Strong words tonight from testimonies in an effort to change Spokane's Fort George Wright Drive because of its history. We'll tell you the history behind the street name and the new one. We have some breaking news right now. Beginning November 30th, all Coeur d'Alene School District middle schools will return to their blended learning model. Half of the students will attend in-person classes on Monday and Tuesday, and the other half will attend Thursday and Friday. Wednesdays, everyone will learn remotely, and the school district made this decision based on the growing number of COVID-19 cases within the schools. Right now, the district has 34 students and 28 employees who have tested positive for COVID-19. And good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I'm Regina On. We do have some new information tonight about the hate incident directed towards Gonzaga's black students. Now the FBI is involved to help identify the culprit. Initial investigations show that the IP addresses of the attackers are both domestic and international. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones has the latest on this investigation tonight.
Earlier this week, I got a chance to speak with some of the students subjected to this unwarranted hate. They told me statements alone from the school wasn't going to make this situation go away, but they want to see the people responsible for this racism identified.
So just over the course of these last few days, do you feel like you've had support from the school?
I would say so far, yes.
Members of the Black Student Union are still trying to cope with Sunday's meeting. What's concerning is not knowing who's responsible for the harassment they endured.
At the end of the day, we still don't know if it's a student or not. You could be walking by them at any time.
Gonzaga has pledged to investigate the situation. They've been working with BSU to meet a list of demands they want to see improved on campus, safety being one of their top concerns, along with bringing in a therapist of color to help unpack what they may be going through as a minority at school.
I hope that there are benefits in terms of waking students up, but it shouldn't have come to a point where you needed students to be directly targeted.
In terms of the next steps, Gonzaga will be creating a community town hall centered around race-related issues. Although IP addresses have been found for the hackers, an identity has yet to be determined. BSU will push for more access to anti-racist curriculum and classes that address issues that affect marginalized students.
And I hope after this that we can continue to push for that, and that we're able to really see that change and work with administrators to make this school a better place for everybody that's on campus.
I did reach out to the FBI here in Spokane. Because it's an active investigation, they couldn't give us too much information, but we're going to continue to follow the situation closely. From Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
All right, turning the page now to a look at weather. We saw fog late last night. It was kind of a mess driving home. It took me about 45 minutes to get home. We did see some snow as well the night before. Thomas Patrick joining me now from the Outdoor Weather Center. So Thomas, are we expecting to see any type of crazy weather over tonight?
No, in fact, tonight is actually our calm night overall. So first of all, glad you got home safely, Regina.
I know. I was like, Thomas, I can't see anything. What's going on?
Yeah, the visibility is down to about, 100 yards or whatnot last night. But that long gone. Tonight, much calmer, much clearer out there. Still a blanket of cloud cover overhead. But otherwise, tonight's our quiet night. And I think tomorrow's going to be a quiet daytime before we start to see some real snow chances back in the picture. A little bit of some flurries over Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, even Sandpoint for tonight, as well as Newport, but that not a significant issue. As we walk you through hour by hour tomorrow, fairly cold throughout the day, 20s in the morning, 30s in the afternoon. But look for a chance of snow showers beginning anticipating at around 5 or 6 o'clock later on in the day. But this is just the precursor to what could be a few more inches of snow on the ground Thursday night. But it's a close call between perhaps snow or rain heading into Friday as you just take a snapshot of our rather large weather system that'll be moving through the Pacific Northwest. You see the widespread snow and rain, but what side of the coin do we fall on? It's going to be different for different areas in the inland Northwest. So I'm going to be breaking that down in just a few minutes here.
Well, in honor of Veterans Day today, we want to take a moment to recognize our local hometown military heroes. Thank you for your service to our country today and every day. We'd also love to help you recognize your veteran as well. You can send us a photo at 509-448-2000. Well, Fort George Drive in Spokane now one step closer to being Wistock's Way. The new name is in honor of the wife of a former chief of a Spokane tribe. Wistock's was the wife of Qualchin, a Yakima chief who ran the region peacefully before George Wright arrived. He was a U.S. Army colonel who slaughtered indigenous people, hundreds of horses, livestock, and crops back in the 1800s, all in an effort to gain land. That area was for a short time called Hangman Creek.
I think as a Native American and as a resident of Spokane, I think it's absolutely disgusting that there's this homage to genocide and the celebration of this awful person who did horrible war crimes.
There are 16,000 identified, residents who are tribal members, who identify as being tribal members. I know that here in Spokane that there are direct descendants of Qualchin, of Wistock's. I just kind of want to assure this community that this is the right thing to do.
While the majority of speakers supported the change, a few argued against it.
That's Fort George Wright, and everybody knows it as such. There's a National Historic District by the name of Fort George Wright. There's a Fort George Wright Cemetery.
The Spokane Planning Commissioners all voted to change the name and say they felt honored to do it.
We've had this on our tentative work plan for years, and I am so glad that I'm actually sitting on the commission when we actually have the opportunity to recommend this change, because I think it's a change that needed to be done a long time ago, and I'm just glad that I'm part of helping make that change occur.
And that name change will now move forward to Spokane City Council for a public hearing by the end of the year. Well, the Coeur d'Alene School District has decided to close Northwest Expedition Academy temporarily. In a statement today, they said that they are having staffing issues because of the coronavirus cases within the school. Right now, 25% of staff and about 40 students are out of school due to coronavirus issues. Students will begin taking online classes starting tomorrow and will return to the classrooms after Thanksgiving break. All right, more than a week after Election Day, President Trump still refusing to concede the 2020 race for the White House. The president's legal team continues to pursue claims of voter fraud in courts around the country. And the Trump campaign has filed a new lawsuit in Michigan with 234 pages of affidavits claiming voting irregularities.
None of these accounts are first person. None of these accounts were brought in a timely fashion.
President-elect Joe Biden called that effort, quote, an embarrassment, but said the president's actions would not affect this transition. Our Mark Henrahan has how the ballot certification process works.
Think of it this way. Election Day is by far not the end of the process. It's really the beginning. Once we cast our votes in person or by mail, it's up to each state to verify those ballots, tally the results, and review challenges if there are any. Then comes the next important part of the election certification, and that is certification. The date of our national election is set by the U.S. Constitution, but it's counties that count the votes and the secretaries of state that certify or finalize the results, not the media. And the date for certification is different in each state. For example, in Arkansas, for the November 3rd election, the deadline to certify results is November 18th. However, in California, the state with the highest population in the country, they have more time. Certification, that's set for December 11th. Meantime, in Georgia, a close battleground state in the 2020 presidential election, their Secretary of State only has 17 days, November 20th, to certify the results, and no later than 5 p.m. Basically, national elections are really 50 state elections. The results of the popular vote in each state determine which party's electors are part of the Electoral College. And the Constitution spells out exactly when the electors meet to vote for president and vice president as the Monday after the second Wednesday in December. This year, that date is December 14th. That's when the election by the people will officially be over.
And we will continue to track the presidential transition and the vote count as results still come in. For the latest update on the election, you can always text the word results to 509-448-2000. All right, still ahead here tonight, CBS has set a new diversity target for its unscripted series, a new goal the network has set for in front of the camera and behind it. Plus,
it's not that we're not sharing that data, it's that we don't even retain it. Again, the Constitution says that it's an absolutely secret ballot.
and later we'll explain how much of your voting history is public information, what's in place to protect you, and how the news is able to report how different groups of people voted in any given election. We'll be right back.